Hey,
fuck you. It's episode 92.
There it is.
Sunday, May 27th. 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Feels a lot fucking hotter than that outside.
It really does.
That's because we live in a fucking shithole.
I hate the humidity. It's the worst part about living here. It's the honestly, well,
there's a lot of bad parts.
A lot of bad parts. But one of the worst parts is the goddamn humidity.
In case people didn't know, we live in Georgia. I hate it here.
Okay,
I don't
hate
know where
it,
you guys.
I don't
live
hate
in
it here,
Georgia.
but
You ever
I
just,
do
like,
hate the humidity.
Drive and then like you're just kind of getting farther away from like where you normally drive around. It's like, wow, I'm actually in the South. Like it's just like really
Yeah,
southern.
that's because we all live basically in the suburbs of Atlanta. If you drive any direction,
we live
all
in-
of a sudden it's like trucks and hunting and fucking country.
Not that there's
music
anything
and-
against that, people that are listening to this podcast.
But there is.
I mean,
totally
I definitely have
something
things.
against
I hate it. I hate it all.
Hey,
I want to
here
leave.
at Casually Toxic, we don't care about.
I'm being casually toxic, one
That's
might
fair.
say.
Huh.
All right, we got stuff to talk about, boys.
We do. I rewatched, in the process of rewatching.
Oh, you've already seen the entire thing, though.
I've already seen it once before.
Okay, what did you watch? Because
I'm watching Hunter x Hunter. Some people call it Hunter
Hunter X Hunter, because there is the letter X between those
It's
two.
true.
Hunters.
There's also X's in between every episode name,
Uh-huh.
because you're not supposed to pronounce them.
Oh shit!
So the author said you're not supposed to pronounce them, but Matt knows better.
Okay, yeah. I
Oh,
always know
This
better.
is some secret
so.
tech coming from Sirius.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know about that insider
It's the
info.
best. It's the best shonen and that and Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood.
oh my god,
Hunter x Hunter is on that level. Like if you haven't seen it,
bro. All right,
watch
so
that
you're
shit.
saying that. I mean, you said that, but like,
Yeah.
you're not in the process of saying it. But like, I love Brotherhood, but when I watch Hunter x Hunter, I got to. I don't want to like call it a tournament arc, but it's like you do
when they go to that tower,
Yeah,
Yeah, I made
Um,
it through that.
and I basically finished that, and then it's just kind of like,
That's where I fell off too.
yeah, it's like I don't really
Dude,
care.
The York New shit is the best. Well, a lot of people think it's the best arc. I like the Chimera arc the best, but the York New City arc, which is what happens immediately after that battle
Maybe
tower, is a lot of people's favorite part of the show.
I mean, that's what everybody. All right, so it's
the
probably,
best fights are coming up,
It's
like
just,
from that point.
it's like a personal thing, but it's like
Yeah.
Gon isn't cool to me.
That's what I think is the most amazing part about this anime. Gon is the main character, and he is also like not the main character. Like he's not the strongest, he's not the smartest. Like he doesn't win most of his fights. You know, like from the very beginning of the show all the way through to the end, like he just meets Killua, and Killua's like, "Yeah, I'm just naturally gifted, and I'm better than you at everything." And then like he meets all these adults who just kick the shit out of him. Like he's just like, it's really amazing if you just like watch the way that Gon changes throughout the show, or maybe not changes, but just like reveals himself.
Right.
Because like Gon also, I wouldn't call him like a good guy, right? He's the protagonist, he's the main character, but I don't think he's like a good person.
Okay.
Which is a really interesting thing about the show. That especially I'm like keying into a lot more watching it around the second time once I know like where it goes and what's happens. That they like reveal these things about Gon that like when you're watching it the first time you think it's just kind of like a throwaway thing, but then you're like, no, this shit stays throughout the whole show because it's written excellently and there's like no, I wouldn't say that there's any like fat on the show. Everything that happens in the show is like important and like worth paying attention
I liked
to.
everything about the show other than the number of episodes.
Yeah, I mean it's long.
yeah, how many episodes are there?
About 150ish.
Christ.
Yeah, that's the difference between like Brotherhood and like Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter might be better.
Hunter x Hunter
I don't
in
know,
the manga is still going.
Okay, but how about this? All right, so Brotherhood and also like other than it looked great, the characters are fucking fantastic, but the story was also really good.
Yeah, the story in Hunter x Hunter is unbelievably amazing. If you watch just the Chimera Ant arc, like that shit is
That's the one I've heard the most.
holy
about.
fuck. It's the last arc.
Yeah.
And it's fucking incredible. There's like a little like epilogue afterward that's like kind of short, but that's like the last like big fucking finale with this incredible fights. Like I don't know. I think like the length of the show really helps with something that you kind of get in Fullmetal Alchemist, that like it helps to build the scale of everything that's happening, because in the beginning it's just like Gon on this island fighting animals, and then like he goes to fight other people, and then he's fighting hunters, and then he's fighting like the strong, and like it just goes up and up and up, but like in a natural way. And Gon like loses enough that it's not just like, oh, Gon's always gonna win like Goku, you know, he just powers up for the strength of his friends or whatever.
Yeah, no, I understand that completely. There's I've recommended you those books. Fucking can't believe I forgot the name of them. But it's a lot of just like building up Stormlight Archives.
Well, that's what because like with Fullmetal Alchemist, you don't really know. Everyone here has seen it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
you don't
but
really know.
do we wanna-
fuck them. It's a 20.
Okay, there's a spoiler for Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, here's a
coming up.
massive spoiler, right?
All right.
The show gets to like these like apocalyptic proportions, right?
Right.
Like the end of the fucking world, end of humanity, or whatever you want to call the
Yeah.
people in that universe. Right? And like Hunter x Hunter gets to that level, which like is amazing from when you watch the beginning of the shit. Like I can't tell you how many people like tell me like even if they didn't like the show or did like the show from the beginning of it, or even just like scrolling through on Netflix, they're like, it's just like a little kid.
Yeah, that's
Right? It's like, why would I watch this show? It's for kids. It's like, it is not for kids.
I'm not saying it's for kids, but it's just like, and like I said, it's a personal thing where it's just like, I mean, it sounds stupid, but I'm the kind of guy that's like, my main character has to be the coolest and the best. And I mean, he obviously doesn't, but like, you know, they can't be like, I can't watch Evangelion because the main character is just a bitch, right? Like he's just like kind of worthless. So it's like
I like flawed
that's like the point of him.
protagonists.
Yeah, the point is that he's a little bitch.
I
Yeah.
don't know. That's for some. It's
That's
just like
fine
a.
with me.
That's because so the whole thing with Evangelion is that it came out in a time when there never had been an
Yeah.
anime protagonist.
No, I
who's
know
a
how
wimp, you know. So
Evangelion was extremely important.
yeah, but that's the thing is like it's fine to even not like it, but I think you should watch it just for like the impact that it like if you're a fan of anime, you should watch it just to see the impact that it's had on
So something. This is kind
the
of
anime that still comes out today.
This is kind of going off track. So I played BioShock and I played Dead Space.
Yeah.
I really love those games.
Yeah,
and
they're
then,
both
of course-
amazing.
right, and then people were like, "Yo, System Shock 2 is where it got all its inspiration from."
Mm-hmm.
And then I played System Shock 2.
Sure.
That game sucks.
It's old.
Some games
It's
don't age
so-
well.
Yeah, it's
It-
not that it sucks.
No.
It's just that it's
It's-
old. My girlfriend's playing Ocarina of Time right now. I'm like, man.
I still
that
enjoy
shit looks
Ocarina,
rough.
but I have a huge amount of nostalgia for it.
Yeah.
The one game that is like unequivocally terrible now, fucking GoldenEye, is like unplayable.
Yeah.
That game's so trash
I
now.
never really like. Everyone has like nostalgia for it. I never really played
Oh,
it.
dude, GoldenEye.
Watching
is
someone
amazing.
play Ocarina of Time that's played other Zeldas, it's
Mhm.
like she's run into like I don't know. It doesn't age well.
I don't know.
rough.
For me,
She's not
it's
playing
like,
the 3DS version. Though,
Okay,
to be
yeah. See,
clear.
I have the 3DS version.
Yeah.
So, and,
The
like,
3DS version
that's
is really
That's
good.
probably okay. She's playing the original on an emulator, so it's rough.
Well, can you talk about like what specifically? Like, I know it looks rough, right? Because
Just yeah, it looks rough. The controls are just like really finicky because it's still based on like that N64 model. It's just like when you want to target on the things, it doesn't always want to target the way you would expect a modern game to target. Just kind of stuff like that. Just like general
Yeah.
like quality of life
Yeah.
aspect of the game makes it like, especially going from even like Wind Waker to like.
I think Wind Waker
Ocarina.
has really similar combat. Really,
It's Wind Waker. We were both looking at videos of both of them. And Wind Waker looked a lot more like playable by today's standards, but I don't know.
I guess I would say the thing that Wind Waker combat that bothered me. I'm thinking of just specifically like the sword combat. Is that Wind Waker introduced like the parry, which is just like fucking free. Once you figure out how to do it, like
Yeah.
it's just like so easy.
I remember I was one of those people that was like, I don't want to play this game. This looks like
Looks like it's for
trash.
kids.
It's
all
not a good
colorful
game.
and smiley.
I like colorful things.
Wind Waker's. I was gonna say it's my favorite. Zelda, but
You
it's
know,
not.
I
but
want-
it's one of the best ones.
I want the brown gray like color palette era
We
to
play
just
Twilight
end.
Princess.
Yeah.
I really want to play Breath of the Wild. I need to get a Switch to play that game.
Yeah, or Wii U.
Yeah. Might as well play it on the newer thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of things with no color, have you guys seen The Expanse, or do you know anything about The
Yes.
Expanse?
I've
Nope.
seen-
I know that it got canceled
You've
and
seen a lot of
uncanceled.
I've
these?
seen a lot of The Expanse.
Do you like it?
Yeah, it's a fucking great show.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
Um,
surprised. Why have you only seen a lot, and why have you not seen all of it?
So you're gonna even hate me even more when you know where I stopped off.
Where'd you stop?
There's a point in season 2. It might be the end of season
Halfway through. Okay.
2.
No spoilers.
Yeah, I don't. Something really crazy happens. And that's where I stopped.
Oh.
And it's not like anything bad. I think it was just like I didn't feel like I was like doing. I don't know. I just didn't go back to it. It's a really good show.
Okay, so a little bit of context here. Expanse is currently airing in its 3rd season on the Horde network that is Sci-Fi. Sci-Fi decides that it doesn't have enough live viewers and cancels it. The whole kind of predictable like save Expanse campaign starts.
Yeah.
But some really cool shit happened during that campaign. They flew basically the props guy on the Expanse said, Netflix is a no-go. You guys need to push Amazon. Like, Netflix is not going to pick the show up.
I wonder why.
I don't know. No one knows that. All we know is the props guy was just like, Netflix isn't taking it, push Amazon. So people flew a banner over Amazon saying save the Expanse, and then they also flew like a model of the main ship in the show, like the Rocinante or whatever. They flew it up to space, and there's a video of it like taken off and like in space with like corny music. It's great. It's just like a bunch of nonsense, but
I bet it didn't go to Netflix because Netflix already invested enough money in like what they consider their like sci-fi block, like Altered Carbon and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so they're like, we don't want to have something compete with our original programming that they Netflix probably has a really good deal with the amount of money that they get from Altered Carbon versus if a show like The Expanse that already has this big audience, like the guys behind The Expanse can come to Netflix and be like, we demand like this percentage of the money because we know this many people are going to watch it.
They're so different.
What does Amazon have, though?
Amazon has nothing right now, but they're going to have a shit ton soon, like Lord of the Rings.
See, that's so weird. I mean, I am so far out of any business decisions, you know, like when I say that, I don't understand it, right? So it's like, to me, Altered Carbon is really good, but wouldn't it make sense to also have a really good other show?
Well, yeah,
They're
I mean,
also,
it would make sense, right? It's easy. It could easily be argued that like Netflix is like dumb for taking a pass on a show that's like a guaranteed hit, right? Like this show it's already a hit.
Well, it's not in terms of ratings, but the main argument that everyone's making is that the people the audience that watch The Expanse are more technically inclined and are not viewing this shit on cable. They're downloading it. They're finding other means of watching. That's the main argument as to why it will do better on a streaming service, is that people that are like 40 to plus demographic that's still watching cable
also,
is
people
not
are watching any show on the Sci-Fi Network. Like the demographic of people watching any given show.
It's a declining network to begin with, so Expanse was already fighting kind of an uphill battle. But in terms of like Netflix, I don't know, because Altered Carbon's so different than Expanse. A lot of people like to slap like Game of Thrones in space on Expanse, and it's partially true. Just like a little bit of background on it, like. It's in the future. There's 3 factions, basically. The people that, like, colonized Mars, and then the asteroid belt and Earth.
I'm having a beer. Continue, please.
It's just these 3 factions in our solar system that, Mars, the belt, and Earth. And it's about the politics between them. And, like, them being on the brink of war and, like, encountering, like, a whole host of different, like, situations. It's interesting. It has a big budget, but nowhere near as big as like Game of Thrones. Like you can see through the budget.
Yeah, but Game of Thrones
nothing has a big budget.
Sure, but with sci-fi, it's like if you don't have the budget of Game of Thrones, you can kind of see the cracks sometimes. You're like,
that's a major issue I have with watching sci-fi shows on
TV.
Yeah.
It's always
the CGI looks so shitty to me.
But Altered Carbon looks really. I mean, it's Netflix, so it's not really.
Yeah, Altered. This is a network.
Still haven't watched Altered Carbon. I need to watch season 2 of fucking Westworld before I watch anything. That's like number 1 on my list right now.
A lot people are hating on it, but I hate people that hate on it.
Yeah.
All right. Why are people like? Can you say it without spoiling anything?
Yeah, sure. Because it's moved away from like the pseudo kind of like intellectual philosophical debates of the first season, which I think is dumb. Like for people to care that they're moving away from that, because I was at like a party like a week or 2 ago where we were all talking about Westworld, and people were like, the end of season 1 blew my mind. And I was just like, you motherfuckers don't watch a lot of TV. Like it was fine, it was neat, but
okay, I thought it was really good.
See,
I thought it was really good too.
I don't think it was anything like special, and if you want more of that out of season 2, you're not gonna get it. It's more of like an action show now, with like a plot-driven action show.
Because I just like, if I get on my fucking elitist high horse here, people talking about like, oh, this groundbreaking intellectual conversation. It's like, listen, my man Philip K. Dick wrote this book called "Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?" Like 60 fucking years ago. That has already gone through all of this shit better than any fucking film will ever do.
But I mean, like, it's just kind of like, so because of something that might be better released in one format, I mean, you can still have...
No. What I'm saying is that it's not doing anything original, right? So so he wrote Android's Dream of Electric Sheep came out, right? And then because of that book, Blade Runner became a movie, which the central theme is, what is the difference between a human and an android, right? And the whole point is to have these intellectual conversations, right? To talk about something new. I don't feel like there's anything like new coming out of the conversation in Westworld.
Oh no,
You
like
know?
in terms of
they're
like,
going over the same thing. They're just like, well, why is a human better than an android? What's the difference? Are humans like God now because we can choose to give them free will or not? Like,
And
you know,
it was
it's not,
presented
it's just
in-
not like something that you should get upset over. Like, it's an interesting thing to think about, right? Because it's obviously nowhere near finished talking about it, right? But Westworld is not like pushing these narratives that's just like mind-blowing, never been done before.
Yeah.
That's not, to me, like a valid criticism to be like, oh, well, they're not talking about the nature of humanity anymore. It's
And
like,
that's
well,
not,
yeah.
the second season's moved away,
Yeah.
which is why people are bashing it, and I'm just like, whatever. It's like, this second season is just more fun to me. They're having
Yeah,
fun
that's
with
fine.
it,
I
and,
mean,
I like it for that.
because
but-
my biggest criticism of season 1 is that it takes like 5 fucking episodes, half the series, for anything to happen.
Yeah.
Because you know after episode 1 that the androids are gonna fucking turn and try to start killing people. So you're just waiting for that shit to happen.
Also, I saw the other big twist in the show because they show something in the first episode. So I was just like, the entire show was spoiled for me from episode 1.
oh, that's interesting. I don't know. I mean, like, I always think in a story show you have to change it to progress forward. Otherwise, it feels like it's another Monster of the Week kind of show where it's just like, oh, we're gonna do the same thing 50 times over and over. And like, I mean, you're right. It's probably not breaking any new ground with like it's androids different than humans, whatever. But like, you know, I still feel like people are introduced to it. And it's
Well,
like
yeah,
their
there's a lot
first
of.
time
That's what I'm saying.
experience.
That's why I said it's like, oh, I'm getting up on my elitist high horse because a lot of people don't fucking know about that book. Don't know about Philip K. Dick.
Yeah,
Never saw Blade Runner. Didn't see any other. Fucking
And that's my argument.
iRobot or any of those other shits. You know,
A
it's
lot
just
of people,
me fucking moaning about.
A lot of people watch Westworld that haven't like dug that deep, so they were like
It's the same
genuinely
thing
blown
with
away. but-
Detroit Become Human, by the way, which is another problem I have with that game. Is
Oh,
that
it's like
it's a lot of like, I guess, people our age and younger who are like, you know, having their minds blown by this idea of like androids and humans and humanity and like God complex and stuff. But it's just like, I don't know. I don't want to get into that. I just think David Cage is a fucking hack. And
I think it's interesting. I watched a couple people play through a bit of it. I mean, it seemed pretty like.
you know, I watched a bit of a stream of Eris playing it, and the one thing that is really cool, but I just don't think that they're like really taking advantage of it, is the idea that you can actually like really influence the story because like I don't know, I'm not gonna like give any spoilers, but like, so there's this scene where you can make these choices and you can make a main character die like pretty early, like halfway through the story, you know, so that like you can make this dude who is like set up to be a protagonist to just be like a bad person, and then he dies and the story keeps going without him, and it's like a really big twist that like is really cool to me, I think. But like, I don't know, I think it's a really interesting thing, but that's not like the focus of the game, and I think that should be of not just Detroit Become Human, but of like video game storytelling type games where like the story is like the main focus, right, and all you really do is just choose like conversation trees or whatever, like to like give you these big fucking twists. Because I feel like a lot of those games are just like people always talk about, I don't know, with Fallout and Mass Effect, when they talk about like the choices, it's either like they're just like pseudo choices, you know, where it's like you have 4 choices but really you have 2 choices. You know,
it's never been about actual different paths as much as just like the illusion of paths.
yeah, the illusion
And
of
that's-
paths.
and that's
you know,
because-
that's my problem with the Telltale games as well.
And
like,
that's
illusion
because
choice.
of just like development.
Yeah, because it's
resources.
fucking
I
incredible to
feel
like
like-
write a story like that. It'd
It's
be
really
insane.
like as long as the illusion of choice is still an illusion, right? Like for example, Telltale, like the beginning Walking Dead is still renowned and it's really good. Same with Wolf Among Us, the first one.
But I feel like those are the only 2 Telltale games that anyone will give praise to.
Borderlands.
Borderlands.
A lot of
I
people
don't know
liked
anyone who liked
Borderlands.
Borderlands.
I didn't play it.
I mean, there's so many now. Like I feel like if they didn't, you know, as soon as fucking Walking Dead season 1 came out, and then it was the Wolf Among Us next, right? And then they just announced like 15
Shit ton.
different
Game
fucking
of Thrones
things.
and
It's like,
Batman and
all right,
that
you've
shit.
been off way more than you can chew at this point.
No,
But-
well, not
No,
necessarily.
what really came out, I remember the big criticism at that time was that all of these Telltale games are the same.
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing. It's like
Yeah.
the company.
You're just
like,
making the same game, but you got to deal with IPs from different companies. So it's like, this time it's Batman, this time
Right.
it's Borderlands,
They
this
made
time
bank. It's not good
Oh,
for like
yeah,
gamers like
yeah.
us, but them following that strategy of just like getting.
I
as
mean,
many
there was
brands
like
as
shit that
possible.
came out talking about how like they, like I'm saying, they like the developers. There was just like too much shit going on. There was not enough people, and then they had like
Yeah.
an obscene amount. Like it was just poor management. It was like
They ground all their developers to dust, but also they made complete bank off of all these brands. And those games aren't that difficult to make because they kept churning out the same game.
I guess, but I feel
on
like
the same engine.
Hey, are you a game dev and listening to this podcast? Kill your fucking boss and start a union.
Jesus Christ. I don't know. Kind of going back to Detroit Become Human.
Yeah.
I feel like what you're talking about would be interesting with like a more, you know,
That's what
changing
I'm
the
saying.
story
Like, they
choice.
have these tools, but they're not using them the right way.
Right, but from what I've seen, it's just like a very heavy-handed like. Androids
That's
are different
fucking
than
David
humans.
Cage,
Like,
dude.
it's just like
He is
The
very
dude does not
heavy-handed.
know subtlety at all.
it's just, but it's just like okay, I understand how you're what way you're trying to make me lean in this situation. Like it's not like I don't have to internally go which way do I want to lean? Like there's no question.
And I still doubt whether or not like what you saw is actually like truly like a unique path, or whether or not the game just convincingly.
No.
This
I'm pretty sure this.
I'm
is
like so wary of shit like that. Like,
Well-
as I've heard that so much before. People are like, "Yo, you play the rest of the game without it makes such a big difference," and then really, like, it's just.
I mean, I know it's like one of several paths, right, that you can take down, but I don't know. This is like such a drastic difference, I think, from the rest of the choices that you could have made. Like, so it's one of the like the dude's doing like a comedy shit, right? So he purposely failed all of the quick time events in like this big fight, and then chose to not like defend himself, right? So that the guy died. Like for this to happen naturally in like a natural playthrough without you choosing to die here, like it's like the only way that you could die is like consciously choosing, right, for the main character or one of the main characters to die. You know.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought it was really interesting. I don't even think the game is full of those moments either. Too. I think that's just like one or two times that kind of thing will happen.
I feel like there's a place for those kind of games. Like I mean, it's Telltale, right? But like, like if he was just better at storytelling.
That's the thing. People like. I remember a while ago, like a couple of years ago, people when the first couple of David Cage games came out and the Telltale games were getting big, people talk about like games as art and games as storytelling. And like to me, it always seemed like if games are going to establish themselves as like a storytelling art form that gets like real respect from people who like don't really play games like that, like you're going to have to do something that you can't do in other formats, right? Like you're not going to be a groundbreaking video game by just making a game that's a movie. You know, you have to make a game that it's in its own unique way, right? Like the Metal Gear series, right?
Yeah.
Like that shit is fucking like it has like these hour-long cutscenes, right? But it still has this incredible story that's like super poignant today, you know? And like I don't know, but Kojima's just like a one-of-a-kind kind of
something
guy.
just kind of off the top of my head. If you had to recommend something to like a game to somebody who is convinced that game it's art, which would you recommend?
Nier Automata.
If I can recommend one game or game series, because series definitely fucking Metal Gear.
Okay, I mean, obviously Metal Gear and then one game.
Nier Automata.
One game that would say games as art.
Nier Automata.
Okay, that's yours. I got it.
No, that is the one. That is everything he just said about Nier Automata is out Metal Gear and Metal Gear.
Okay,
No
but that
fucking
game is
way.
just
But
And
anyway,
it does
it
totally
seems
innovative
extremely
gameplay
unfun.
thing.
Yeah,
as
Nier
well.
Nier even addresses the Android humanity thing, but I think way better than
It does it way better, and
other ones.
also what you were saying, it has to be like, you know, there has to be a part of the game that's completely unique.
Yeah.
And Nier Automata has parts of it you will never
Oh,
see.
yeah.
Things that happen in that game, gameplay wise, in any game.
I'm gonna
for a
shit talk
long
that
time.
game till the day I die. Even when I play it, I think it's fantastic. I'm still gonna.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. But honestly, Nier Automata is fucking art.
Yeah.
Nier Automata is art
Okay.
as a
Metal
game.
Gear. What would they? I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'm-
like GTA 4.
Really.
I really liked Nico Bellic's character and his whole arc. I mean,
GTA 5 is too.
I don't know if it would really
there.
convince somebody it's like game is like art, but I think it's a really enjoyable story and game. I liked it better than 5, I think.
I think I would go.
Witness?
Yeah.
Or something more. Oh, what remains
Or
of
maybe
Edith
like
Finch?
Journey.
Yeah. That's what I was leaning
Or
towards. like-
Shadow of the Colossus.
Abzu.
Yeah, that's what I was
Uh-huh.
actually gonna pick, because it's like short, looks
Yeah.
great, and also there's like interesting parts. In
Look,
it.
to me, Journey had like this really amazing moment to me because I just like people told me the game was good, so I just bought it and played
Yeah.
it without any outside like influence. And I didn't know that I was like playing with real people until the end of the game, and it shows the credits and it's like people's gamer tags, and it's like, what the fuck? Those are real dudes who
Yeah.
just like linked up with me and then went off on their own fucking shit. Like that was a
Super
really
cool.
cool moment.
I don't know.
I would
Yeah.
also say What Remains of Edith Finch because like there's actual like
Yeah, I
art
wanna
in
play
that
that.
game. Like it is, there's art is built into the game.
Mm-hmm.
What about Senua's Sacrifice?
Yes.
Because like if
I think Sinuous Sacrifice is more interesting as like a display of what a triple
Mental
A
illness,
like
whatever.
mental that thematically yes there's that, but I think it's more interesting. I think it kind of overrides a little bit as what an indie dev can do to make like a triple A game.
Maybe A Night in the Woods.
I haven't played that one.
That shit. I'll never forget this moment because I haven't played it since I beat the first like storyline. You can beat that game in like probably like 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But then you
What?
play through it
Yeah.
again.
Yeah,
then
I played that shit for like 8 hours and I was still not at the end.
Then
I
you
was
like play through
I'm
it again, and
done.
you can like choose other like to hang out basically with your other friends and like go through their stories.
Yeah, I remember you talking about this.
Yeah, and like there was like a moment where it's like I hung out with my one friend, and like he like alludes to like the shit that's like makes him unhappy in his life, and it's just like I don't want to know about this. Like I want you to just be like my happy best friend who makes everything all right. Because that game like really
I know
has
what
like
part you're talking
yeah
about.
such a moment where it's like I don't know. It's like that game really gets down into like what it's like living in like a fucking shitty small town in like late capitalism where everyone is just kind of like crushed by these outside forces outside of their control.
I don't think Night in the Woods is accessible enough for most people. Like for
I think
for
it's-
someone getting
it's-
into like games and you're trying to convince them games can be like an art medium. I think Night in the Woods might be a little bit
I think
too
it's
dense.
more accessible. All you do is walk around and talk to people.
I don't mean like in terms of like playing games, just in terms of like the material.
Yes,
I
it
think
can
the
be
material-
kind of intense. Like what the subject matter can be kind of.
I think
intense.
it's a little dense and like requires you to have a certain mindset that I don't know if it would necessarily.
Yeah, it wouldn't
convince
be.
the
It's definitely
average.
not for everybody.
Yeah.
But I
Definitely
mean, nor
not.
is art, right? That's the whole point.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think for the right audience, and like it has
For the
been,
right
it's
audience,
a huge.
yeah.
fucking
Did I ever tell you
thing.
guys I tried going to like an art, not like the High or whatever, but like an art museum where it was just like weird ass shit, and it
Yeah.
seemed like I don't know. It was just like I've never tried so hard to get something and then just gotten nowhere. Like it was just like some weird fucking oblong statue that was just like.
Some art person would probably tell you that if you're trying that hard, you're doing it wrong.
But I mean,
I mean,
like
probably. I mean, that like right, like it should just affect you. I think it's a personal belief, right? But it should just affect you. And if it doesn't, like you shouldn't be like upset or try not to. It's like like well, why don't I like fucking Katy Perry? You know, it's like I just don't like.
yeah, I
Katy
mean, I
Perry,
think it's
you
just
know?
like a personal thing.
I'm
Like,
a soulless asshole, so like I don't get art either. I just know that's the argument. For
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know. I just tried to give it a go. It wasn't like I was sitting there fucking intently staring at a painting, being like, "What is that mean?" You know?
Use the Force.
It was just kind of like I would look at it and think about stuff, and I was like, I feel like I'm forcing myself to evoke an emotional response that I'm just creating.
Well,
I
to
think
being
when I look at
pretentious
art,
takes
it's more
effort.
like you look at it and you get a feeling, right? If you don't get a feeling, then it's shitty art, like for you personally.
Right.
If you don't get any kind of feeling at it, but if you get
Can
any feeling, like anger, or you think it's really nice,
What
or
if
you
I'm
think it's
angry that it
shitty,
was
right?
creative?
Right? Yeah. So then,
Well, there you go.
okay, but then from there, think about why am I angry about
Right.
why it was created, and then you get like an emotional connection to a piece of art.
We have got hella off track.
What do you mean off track? What are the people here for?
I
What
don't
do you
know.
think they're listening for?
You guys like talking about shit that kind of pertains to video games? This is the podcast for you.
Occasionally, we talk about video
Kind of
games.
about
That
video
was
games.
a tagline of a popular podcast hosted by Totalbiscuit called Co-Optional. Sometimes they talk about video games. Totalbiscuit died.
He did. He
Can I
kicked
tell you,
the
like,
basket.
I was already super bummed that day from just, like, I don't know, some other shit. And then Totalbiscuit dies, I'm just like, damn.
It was really sad to see. Really, I was just like checking my phone. I think I was like at work, and I just like looked at my phone, and like the top 4 posts on all was just like that Twitter from his wife.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't know how to react because like I didn't have like a big like personal connection to him, but it was like I don't know, it's just sad.
It's fucking depressing. I mean, there's people dying all the time, and like celebrities, and like it's weird for me because I feel like out of the celebrities I've interacted with TB the most because like I watched videos and there's like I'll watch his like best games of the year or whatever, and like his WTF is and all that shit. I used to watch the Co-Optional podcast, but I don't know. It's like weird that it's just now. I mean, he's dead.
He's just gone.
He's 30. He was 33.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
I was like, this dude's like 40 something, right? Which is still, it's crazy how my perception has changed. When I was like 15, I was like 40. That's fucking. You're so old. Now I'm like, I'm 40 years old. Dude was so young.
It definitely like. I engaged with his content like on a at least monthly basis since I was like 13. Like I was listening. He originally started out on Warcraft Radio during Vanilla WoW and Burning Crusade, and he just did like WoW podcasts. But that day, like I read that he was like dying or whatever, and I told my girlfriend, I was like, "Yeah, Totalbiscuit's like dying," and then like 7 hours later he died, and I was like, "That all happened in like."
What do you mean?
I already knew he had cancer, but he said, I think earlier that day, he said, you know, he didn't have a whole lot of time left, or like the day before, or I might have read it like 3 days after he said he didn't have a lot of time left. But he came out and said, I don't have a lot of time left, this is already a done deal. Yeah. And I just read that the day that he died, and so I found out he was definitively dying 8 hours before he died. So I just like got back on the internet. I was like, oh man, that just like.
Was that the thing that was like, you know, I'm not gonna be doing reviews or I'm not gonna be doing. Yeah,
he was like
that came out a bit.
Yeah,
before.
I think it was like May 3rd or something, and then I read it just the day. I didn't know that was a done deal until the day that he died. So it happened really quick for me, where like that realization and then him dying. It like really sucks. He is basically responsible for us having like field of view sliders in every. He is that guy.
I saw someone made a post. He's like, he's up in the big FOV in the sky now.
But he was always like super opinionated, which I liked. He was always a fucking asshole about it.
I feel like that's what makes him a good reviewer, though, right?
Yeah.
It's like you either love him or hate him. He's giving you his opinion.
I think he's definitely like a big personality, right? Like he's definitely his own kind of guy. Doesn't rip off a lot of shit. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird thing.
It's weird. He's 33. I kind of took it for granted. I like listened to him for like basically over half my life, and then like this is one of the few like gaming deaths that like actually like celeb deaths in general. That
I was really
like,
sad when Iwata died. That was like the only video game person I've been sad about. I've been sad like when I don't know, when David Bowie died and Prince, I was really fucking sad. I still get sad when I listen to David Bowie. I think about how he's fucking gone. But
it's interesting to me. So H3H3 has a podcast, and TB went on that one, and he was talking about
cancer.
Yeah, and just like if you have symptoms or whatever, but cancer is just like so many things that it's like. I mean, I have lower back pain, but does that mean I have fucking?
Maybe, yeah. That was something I like went down a hole after he died and was like. Man, I've had some like discomfort in my chest. I don't know if it's from vaping or what.
Man,
like
every time I get like any kind of pain in my chest, I was like, "Am I dying?" Dude. And then it's gone in like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
like, probably nothing.
There's like
just gas.
That day was happening after he died. I was like, this is the end for me too. My death is just gonna sync up with TB.
There was fucking one day where like, I basically the whole day I was just like, I'm fucking dying. This is it. Here I am today. But like it's interesting to me how you can be so young and you get a terminal diagnosis, and it's just like you just change.
Yeah, the way you look at life.
Yeah, and it's like suddenly I can't think about a scenario where I would be okay with dying. And like that's obviously, I'm probably not mature enough to come to terms with it, or I'm not put in a situation where I'm forced to come to terms with it. But it's crazy, like, because people were talking about, I mean, I don't know if this is in bad taste, but like he tweeted out like a couple days before that he was feeling better, but mentally he still needed some time, and then literally 2 days later he fucking passed away. So it's just like, damn, like how do you? I don't know. I guess my point is like I'm confused on how someone so young can come to terms with something so
not well, probably.
I mean, you have to. Well, you don't have to.
You don't have to.
You don't have to. You can. It's what's a really depressing thing. I remember I listened to a fucking This American Life podcast a while ago, talking about people who work in hospice care, and like the scariest fucking stories would be the people who would be like with like 90-year-old people who lived like full amazing lives, and they're at the end of their lives and they're still just like, I don't want to go, like I don't want to die, I'm afraid of what's gonna happen, I don't know like what's gonna be. And it's just like, kind of like as a kid growing up, you kind of just figure it's like, oh, you know, all the adults have it figured out, and like something happens to you at some time in your life and you're like, you know what, it's okay if I die now. But that's, I don't know, it's just like an evolutionary thing, right? To be afraid of death,
your brain just,
right? Like, it's just like, it's in your DNA. It's not up to you, really.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can think about it, like, try to think about it rationally, you know? Like, there's always, I don't remember who talks about it, but they're always just like, you know, like, do you remember what it was like before you were born? You know, that's what it'll be like when you're dead. Like, you won't know. You won't be able to worry about it.
Yeah, but, I mean,
and, like, that's, like, a way, I don't know, that's, like, the thing that I think about, like, to try to, like, cope with the idea of death, especially as, like, an atheist, you know? Is like,
just like going to sleep.
No, well, not just going to sleep. Like, if you just think about all the awful shit in your life, and it's just like, that's gonna be gone. You're never gonna be anxious again. You're never gonna like worry about shit that's gonna happen. You're never gonna worry about anything.
Yeah, I mean, like,
you know,
I
like,
am a very anxious person. Like,
yeah.
To a stupid degree, and it's just like, even, I mean, this is probably just a personal thing, but like, even when it's like, damn, this sucks. I don't like feeling this way. It's still like the alternative is like feeling nothing.
No,
yeah,
like, life is
not
a
being around. It's
beautiful
just,
thing, but it's not. I don't know. I'm trying to say it's not feeling nothing, but it's just like, it's not feeling nothing. It's just nothing.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I understand.
So it's like, I don't even know. It's like just a fucking crazy ass thing.
Yep.
Death.
Well, Totalbiscuit has a GoFundMe for like a memorial for him. I think it was like 180,000 out of 200,000 currently.
That dude's fine.
And
you don't need to give him any money.
No, his family. It's for
his family afterward.
Yeah, it's mostly for his family afterward. Apparently, they're having issues.
Is he like
with
married?
Bills. Yeah, he's married and has a kid. I think his kid
he's
has
having issues with bills.
Yeah, his wife is apparently.
Yeah, because America is a terrible fucking place, and you have to go bankrupt if you get cancer.
It's crazy that to me, it's like, I'm not going to go to the doctor if I'm sick. It's probably just nothing. But in other countries, it's probably just go to the doctor.
Yeah, just go to the fucking doctor. Oh, I got a mole. Maybe it's cancer, but I can't afford to take off work. Yeah. So fuck you. Like,
I can't afford to go to the doctor. I don't have health insurance. If I have an issue, it's just like I gotta tough it out.
Yep.
That changes in December when I graduate, but until then, no doctor.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had a kid. They have a kid who has special needs of some kind.
Oh,
so that's also a stressor. But anyway, he has like GoFundMe up, and I guess co-optional is going to continue with his wife hosting. So it's all kind of like, I mean, they're trying to make it like a feel good as possible thing. They're doing the best they can.
God damn, I feel for her. I hope she comes out the other end.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
Yeah, they'll be okay.
So on to a brighter subject.
Yeah, that was we just fucking.
I think I
talk about some real shit.
Yeah,
but I mean, like,
you should avoid topics
the
like
rest
that.
of the podcast is like, fuck.
Nah,
we're all gonna die someday, dude.
I mean, but
I'm gonna be like, damn, I'm dead someday.
long way away.
Yeah, but you shouldn't avoid difficult topics.
No, I'm not saying we should.
That's how you come to terms.
We should have left it for like the end, is what I'm saying. Leave everybody else
on this fucking dour note.
So I've been living in 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
How is it?
Like?
It's pretty good. Turns out in 2013 there's 3 factions: Terran Republic, Vanu Sovereignty. I can't say that word. And New Conglomerate.
Would you happen to be talking about a fucking game that I downloaded when I bought my first gaming computer? Called Planetside 2.
You mean Benchmark Tool 2013? Yes.
Okay, so
I heard you can have more than 100 players on a server at once.
More than 100 players.
What was that
That's
game
insane.
that came out on PlayStation 3? Meg?
Mag.
That was like
Mag.
That was like the huge selling.
Oh my
god!
god!
Mag was kind of a scam.
Yeah, I mean,
in a way, right? Like
that was
Mag.
do you guys remember the fucking PS3 no games era? Oh my god, dude! When PS3 first came out, and it was $600 compared to the Xbox that was like $300.
Yeah.
And also, what were you gonna play on PlayStation at that time? This was before Uncharted, before Infamous, before any good games were on fucking PlayStation. I remember, what was the big fucking selling point? That shitty ass dragon game, Reign of something. Reign of Fire, I think.
Vaguely
remember. And you use the motion controls.
Wasn't
on the
it called
fucking
Lair?
PS3. Oh no, I think Lair was another game.
Okay.
But yeah,
I've heard of that.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Xbox is like, hey, Halo 3 came out, and Gears 3 just came out, so buy this shit. Yeah.
And then Mag was a scam in that, like, it was these, like, 200 or 300 player battles, but you could only have 32 versus 32, and it was, like, sectored off.
Yeah.
So, Planetside 2 is still, like, the only MMO FPS in my mind. I can't think of anything else that actually, like, earns the right to be called an MMO FPS. It currently holds the biggest player base or players in a battle, which is like 1152, which beats that 1 versus like 1,000 game that was on Xbox for like 2 weeks. There was some
that game was fun.
Yeah, but
Destiny?
it
you don't think it's an MMO FPS?
It's lobby based, right? Like, you don't have 1,000 players. I mean, it depends. Like, I don't want to get into actual definitions of what MMOs are, like whether lobby MMOs are full MMOs or vice versa. All I know is Planetside has, you can have up to like 1,000 people or more in a single area of the map fighting each other. So for that, it like, I think holds the place as like the only like true like MMO FPS in my mind.
You know, I played that game and I never fucking figured out how it fucking works. Like, I literally just like run around, shoot some people from like 20 miles away, get shot from some dude 20 miles away, and like run. Spend 10 minutes running back to the base because I couldn't figure out like how to spawn close to what we were trying to do. Like,
after playing it, I've been playing a shit ton for like the last week or two. It's hard for me to get like excited about Battlefield or really at all in like light of playing this game. It does so many cool things I never realized before. Like, yeah, it's 1,000 player battles, but the battles the bullets have bullet drop and like travel time, and like there's real recoil, and the skill ceiling in that game is surprisingly high. Like, headshots matter. It's really weird.
So I watched a video on talking about Planetside 2 and how it was really good, and then they made some changes, right? So like, there was like cash out guns introduced that were just straight up better than normal guns.
Those don't exist anymore.
Okay. That was my follow up. Do you know if they changed anything, or are you just coming to this because you like suddenly woke up one day saying, "Hey, I kind of feel like playing Planetside 2"?
So I woke up one day saying I want to play Planetside 2, but then I did a ton of research, as I always do, and for clarity's sake, I played the original Planetside in 2003. I've always loved the idea of Planetside because it's so fucking ambitious, and I don't know why other games aren't even.
And it's free.
Yeah, and it's not pay to win. Going to that, there's no pay to win. Every gun is horizontal, and you can earn certs or their currency in game.
But is it like
buy guns?
Earn, or is it like actually earn? I'm using earns with air quotes.
No, you can get like, just for example, like a new gun or whatever, it'd be like 650 certs. In one day, I made like 1,000 to 1,500.
But how many games how long do you think you played?
Maybe like you could get a new gun like every 4 or 5 hours of playing. And like, you don't have and these guns aren't necessarily, they're not better than, there are guns that are better, but you can just Google what guns are better and then buy them for the 650 certs and then use that gun for the rest of the time you play Planetside. I had no in-game incentive to spend money other than I wanted to, so I bought their Patreon $15 a month deal. That's it, because it's MMO, and that's just what I do by default with MMOs. But I didn't feel pressured to do it, which is why I did do it.
So I mean, it's kind of too late for this, but after this, I want to send you I want you to watch a video, and I want to get your opinions on it, because like, I played Planetside 2 for like a little bit.
Yeah.
Not a ton. It was enjoyable, but like, it was, when I played, it was kind of like, it seemed like it was going to take forever for me to unlock, I was sniping at the time or whatever, like a really good sniper, and then like, it was taking too long. It ran like garbage on my computer at the time.
So there's been a lot of optimization passes at it in big battles with a GTX 970 and a 4690K. I'll occasionally drop down to like 45 in like really big battles, like 100 versus 100 or 200 versus 200. That's when I'll drop to 45. Other than that, I maintain 60 plus at reasonable settings.
But you're also the kind of guy like Planetside 2. Like, you're the dude that really likes squatting up and having like a commander tell you
And
what
playing
to
with
do, right?
randoms.
So what I like about Planetside is I can do either, and both are viable for like personal progress. I can either just join the Zerg and just like move with the Zerg and get in these giant battles that, man, it's so fucking cool at night when you're seeing all these tracers flying back and forth and like rockets coming from both. It gives you a sense of scale that no other shooter can. But I like that I can join the Zerg, or I can join a public squad. And I've not been on voice chat at all. I've only listened to people on voice chat. So it doesn't require much participation on my end. And then I just listen to what they want us to do. And then I go and do that if I want to play like that. Otherwise, I'll just join the Zerg and have fun in big battles. Both ways are totally viable ways to play. So I like that.
Yeah, I want to hear your opinions on it after. I mean, I really can't speak a whole time.
Sure. I would just say, like, it's easy to unlock stuff. It doesn't seem pay to win in the slightest. The better you get at it, the more fun you'll have, because when you first start playing, you're just going to die and respawn and die and respawn and die and respawn.
That's what I was doing.
Yeah,
Not like learning a lot.
It doesn't really get fun until you start like accepting that the guns are kind of difficult to use, and it's going to take some practice. And when you start living for more than like a minute at a time, when you start living like 5+ minutes, or you're getting multiple kills every life, that's when it starts being like, this is a really enjoyable. Like, I don't mind the die respawn thing anymore, because it's so easy. Just like hit ready.
I just never broke through that wall.
Yeah.
It was literally just like get one kill, die,
Yeah.
and then get one kill and then die,
You
or
gotta-
like try and play the objective and die.
And
Like,
can't people on your own team grief you, like if you get in a vehicle or something?
There is friendly fire in the game. Generally, people won't, because if they friendly fire you too much, they'll get locked out of using their weapon. And the game just like becomes unplayable for them. It doesn't take that much friendly fire to do. Like you kill 2 or 3 people, you might be able to, like a dedicated team killer might be able to kill 2 or 3 teammates an hour.
Mhm.
Like they're getting nothing out of it. It's not even
2 or 3 people. That's a whole ton.
And then they respawn in 5 seconds and they're back in the game. So like team griefing, the friendly fire is just for like, I don't necessarily agree with it being in the game, but it makes sense in the context when you're having these big battles that you don't want to just be spraying in random directions, or you're gonna.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Speaking of you spawn and die in 5 seconds, Black Ops 4 and Battlefield 5 got announced. Can I get some reactions from the round table here
It's hard to care after playing Planetside.
I really don't give a shit
about
like, either of them. Either
Yeah.
of them. Like, honestly, like, I just don't want to play those games anymore.
So I felt that I still feel mostly that way. Like I used to buy every Call of Duty from like Modern
Yeah.
Warfare 2 to Black
I bought
Ops.
from Modern Warfare 2 to probably, I think, Advanced Warfare 3. There was Modern Warfare 3, and then there was Black Ops 1 and 2, which I got.
Yeah.
And Advanced Warfare, I think, was the last one I bought on Xbox One.
Yeah.
And even with that game, I didn't really want to buy it, but I did because I had some friends who, like, that's the only game they played, and I wanted to play with them, so I played that. And it was fun, but, I don't know, the game doesn't feel rewarding. Especially, okay, so I can speak more to Call of Duty. I never really played Battlefield.
I played Bad Company 2.
I played almost all the Battlefields.
3. I haven't played 4 or.
I played a
1.
shit ton of Call of Duty. Modern
Yeah,
Warfare
same.
2, Advanced Warfare, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 1 and 2. I played a lot of all of those games.
So where I fell off, what you're talking about, is Black Ops 2. Like, even though that was renowned as one of the better
Pretty
ones,
good
it was
games,
just
yeah.
like it was like the end of my time. And I remember
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna buy it, and then it came out that day, and I was like, oh, I mean, I fucking
The
gotta
games
get
are
it.
just the same. That's my main issue. The Call of Duty games are just the same every year. Like, they're like, oh, well, now you can run on walls, but, like, it's still the same shit. My main fucking issue with Call of Duty is I feel like the distance between, like, the skill floor and the skill ceiling is too fucking small.
I think in gunplay you're correct. It's obviously team play where like,
Right,
skill
it's a
does
team play game, right? But a lot of people are just playing that game by themselves, you
Yeah.
know, solo queuing
But, I
and
mean,
with
doesn't it
randoms. But no, but one of my I did actually play the World War II Call of Duty. My brother bought it, so I played a little bit and I watched him play it. And the game is just fucking like lazily designed. Every single fucking map is the same. 3 lanes, one in the middle, left and right, and like not a lot of verticality to it. and you literally just run at the enemy team and kill them until you die, and then respawn and run at them again. And the spawns are still fucking horrendous, right? Like, all you're doing is abusing, like, the shitty spawn system that's, like, even if you don't know shit about game design, like, you can figure out, like, where the spawns are, and you can fuck people with spawn killing. And it just makes the game not fun. Like, so many fucking games in the most recent Call of Duty where, like, you'll just queue up for a game and get put into the middle of a game that's, like, you're losing, like, 92 to 48. You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, I'll just wait for the game to end. And it's like, oh, they got the fucking power players. Like, we just lose this lobby. I'll just keep going until I find the lobby where I'm the best player.
Yeah, I think
or the top 3 players.
It's definitely one of those games where it's like, I'm going to play for an hour.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just, like, not that serious. And I don't want that out of a game. Especially a fucking $60 game.
Well, I mean, we're talking about Joe Schmo here, right? Gets home from work, wants to fucking
Yeah.
relax. I mean,
Mod is the casual.
Yeah, if
I'm really curious to see how well this game does in the age of a fucking free-to-play Fortnite game that's, like, intensely better than Call of Duty.
It's hard to compare.
Yeah, I think it's different.
But
I think they're totally different games, right? Not the same genre at all, but
you're talking about, like, that's the main
I'm talking about how it's free to play, right? So shit ton of people are gonna get it. It already has a lot of, like, a huge fucking audience. So there's people who, like, don't play games, like, their friends play Fortnite, so like, play Fortnite with us, so they'll do that, right? Call of Duty is, like, already has this reputation, right, of, like, the fucking Mountain Dew Code Red, like, negative reputation, right?
Did they lean into that?
Yeah, they did. Oh yeah, Halo
here's
did
the
too.
possibility
at one time.
Here's the possibility with Blops 4 is
Blops.
Blops.
that
that's a common acronym, dude. You're not a real Blops head, huh?
I'm not a Blops head.
Yeah, it's not Blops.
I fell off on Blops too, boys.
I haven't fucking played a single one of these.
With the fucking stone.
My guess would be that the only way that it really succeeds is actually if their battle royale mode is like.
That's right. They're doing a battle royale.
So that's what I'm
to a
interested
niche
in.
market that the current PR game.
It's gonna be $60 though, right?
Yeah, but it's a trip. It's a
it doesn't matter,
triple
man.
fucking A thing. Like, I would be super interested if it's just like really well done. Because I mean, like,
I'm definitely gonna keep an eye on it. I'm not writing it off.
I don't think anyone's.
But I'm just not interested.
No one's interested probably in the base like Black Ops 4 multiplayer experience except for dads and fucking casuals, fucking dirty casuals.
No, people who think that this is not a casual.
But if they do their battle royale mode in a weird way that like appeases like a market that we don't even know exists yet, then I could see it doing really well.
I would buy Black Ops 4. Not for the game, not for like the multiplayer based game, but for zombies and then this battle royale.
You know what actually it could do well?
And
I'm thinking about is it could be a first person battle royale because PUBG did that first,
that's what
right?
they're gonna do,
but you need a fucking you did at one time a beast of a fucking computer because if you're playing on Xbox, you're playing it like fucking 12 frames, right? So this could be like running pretty good on console, a first person with no building battle royale game, which could have some success now that I fucking think about it more.
PUBG is mostly negative now on Steam.
Yeah,
really,
it's mostly negative.
That's
now.
Crazy. Like, I wonder
about what. They haven't changed the game on, have they? I know that the 2 new maps people are not super hype on. It's the jungle and the desert, right?
Yeah.
There's a jungle.
Yeah. Well, there's supposed to be like an island, which is supposed to be like more intense and fast paced. I haven't played it.
That's what they're trying to do. That's the direction Fortnite's going because Arya still plays PUBG a lot, and he's talking about how they're changing the game to make it more like
Fortnite.
Yeah, like not that it's like going to become arcadey, but that it like promotes more action. The map is going to be smaller. You have more respawns, like shit like that to make it more action packed.
I think
which is fine by me, honestly. That was always my biggest complaint with PUBG is that it's like you'll play the game for 20 minutes and see 2 people and die. Like,
so, yeah, but to me it felt more intense than if I saw 2 people.
No, it's doing a different thing. Yeah,
which is what I thought they should have leaned into. But if they're just going to try and copy Fortnite, I feel like
that's the thing with all these fucking game companies is like they're afraid of taking a chance on losing some money and doing an original idea versus just copying some other shit and making a little bit of money and
there was so I was talking to you guys earlier. I read this book about game development, how it's ridiculous. So Halo Wars started off as like an entirely different game, and then it was gonna have like a crazy amount of stuff, and then EA came in and was like, hey, listen, new IP RTSs aren't gonna sell, so you're gonna make it Halo now. It's just like, damn, imagine working for like months and months creating this whole world, and then EA just like, nah.
Nintendo does
Microsoft,
that shit
rather, not EA.
all of the goddamn time. They come in to see like games in development and they're like, no one's gonna buy this game unless Mario's in it, so we're gonna turn this game into a Mario and Friends party game.
I mean, that's part of why crunch time happens. Isn't necessarily like the deadlines make sense in that you're constantly racing market trends.
Yeah.
If you don't make it out before a trend, or like during the peak of a trend, you're fucked, which is what happened to LawBreakers.
That's what I'm saying about the trend thing, is that I think the FPS trend is finally starting to go away and being replaced by the battle royale shit.
Yeah,
As the most popular casual genre.
It is, which I hate because I don't want to go through a decade of battle royale because I don't
think it'll be a decade.
Yeah, I don't think it'll.
I don't know.
But it'll be a couple of years.
It's been like what, a decade of MOBAs now, which I don't like MOBAs either.
I don't think MOBAs are that crazy. I think League is like losing popularity.
Yeah,
and-
well, it's like
it's still insane.
I mean, it's still insane.
Yeah,
It has retained its player base, but a lot of new players I feel like are not coming into the game.
because it's an old game. Like it's almost 10 years old at this point.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
like
anyone
8 or
that's
9.
ever, that's the same thing as like, wow, anyone that's ever played was going to play League has played League.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of the nature. Like a game can't increase in popularity forever.
Yeah.
It's just not gonna happen.
That's the problem with like these game companies and just like companies under a capitalist system, is that like the ideal is just like uninhibited growth always, which is just unrealistic. That shit will never happen. You know, so that's what causes companies to like fuck with like an already fine game, perfect formula. They're like, well, we need to have growth. It's not fine to keep making $100 million every year. We need to make more every year.
Yeah. So if you guys haven't realized by now, Sirius is our resident anti-capitalist.
It's fucking
But
terrible.
then-
It's an
Always
awful
gotta
thing
have
that
one
is the
on
reason for
staff.
everything awful in the world.
What you do though is you have a game, you get experience growth, it levels out, you change things, attract a new audience, and then you go all the way back to the beginning and attract everyone you've ever touched throughout the game's life cycle, and there you have WoW Classic.
Talking about that OSRS game.
And OSRS, it's represented there. It's also going to be represented with WoW Classic, where they did that. They've gone through that entire process, and now they're going to loop all the way to the beginning and drag everyone that's ever played their game, new audience and old audience alike, and have them all converge on the old product. Which is going to be
season 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's
Exactly.
really
At a certain
goddamn-
point, you just complete the circle, and then now you just have like this circular development.
Interesting.
Did you play
Yeah.
season 3?
No, I didn't start playing till season.
I think there was like
6. I think.
you bought. God damn it! I'm gonna fucking hate myself. It was like Spirit Stone or some shit. Everyone built the same jungle item, but it literally made anything viable for jungle. Because that's what I did in that.
Well, I remember, I don't know if it was season 3, but I watched a video back when people were talking about like why is top lane so shitty, and this dude was talking about maybe season 2 or 3 that dodge used to be a skill that you could buy items and it would increase your chance to dodge an auto attack. So everybody had like a Jax E, and then Jax had his E on top of natural dodge buffs, and you could just literally dodge auto attacks.
So I'd
like,
be
what the
interested-
fuck? And there's no other item that makes your accuracy higher. Like you just miss autos.
I know that
hate MOBAs.
I'd be interested in us, you and I, playing
Everything
Dota.
you just said is horrible.
Because like even though like that we shit on, I think we shit on Dota on this podcast, but like
yeah,
there's a
sure. We shit on a lot of stuff.
There's terrain like disadvantage. So if like you're
Like high ground and low
if
ground.
you're above somebody and you're trying to hit them with like an auto or whatever, you have like a higher chance to just miss.
That
which
sounds
is
so
kinda interesting.
stupid.
Yeah,
That
but I
doesn't
mean
sound
like
stupid. That's the Revenge of the Sith rule. Continue.
that's,
I'm going to add
I've
nothing
been-
but
you know,
garbage.
I'm just
to this.
interested. I mean, I feel like the game. It's not fun for me, but I'd be
Dota?
interested. Yeah, but I like obviously nothing's fun if you're trying to fucking.
Yeah, if we
learn
played
you're
it
just getting
together.
smashed.
I mean, it wasn't fun for Anakin either. So.
Oh god.
You're supposed to lead the Jedi. What was it? You're supposed to something.
No,
do-
you're supposed to destroy the
Destroy the Sith, not
Yeah,
not
you're supposed
join
to,
them.
yeah,
Yeah.
not join
Yeah.
them.
Damn, dude, prequel me.
It's been a couple of years.
In us.
What's his name's gonna be at DragonCon this year? Darth Maul. I think his name's Ray Park. I think is his name.
Hell yeah.
The
That
actor.
sounds correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like if you want a more what's the word? Diverse, like tactical game, Dota 2 would be that. If you want like a more, I've said this a million times, but more mechanical game, I think League is for you. So it's kind of like, I don't know. Like if you want missed chances,
Yeah.
then fucking Dota 2 would
I
be
like
you.
that.
I'm not saying that's a cool mechanic. I'm
Yeah.
glad they took it out.
You just-
Honestly.
I don't know.
But yeah.
What the fuck were we talking about? I got derailed.
I don't remember.
Call of Duty sucks.
Oh yeah, we didn't even touch on Battlefield 5. Fuck.
I don't know anything about this fucking game.
They
And
just
I
showed
also,
it.
They
like,
just showed a
don't-
trailer.
I don't
which
give a
people
shit.
rage
I've
just
literally
announced.
let me tell you the last Battlefield I fucking played, 1942 or whatever the fuck it was called.
Hell yeah.
Battlefield.
See, if they made it
Which was a
slow-
good
Vietnam.
fucking game. That was a good fucking game.
What about 2142?
Didn't play it.
2142 was great.
What about Vietnam?
Vietnam was great.
What about Bad Company 2?
Bad Company 2 was great.
Played the
Battlefield
beta
3.
Bad Company too. It's fun.
Battlefield 3 was okay.
Hardline.
Not ever.
Okay.
Hardline.
Some of my favorite memories in Battlefield was like me and a friend would play and like we'd both be snipers because we're fucking I don't know and like he would just spot somebody and then like one of us would spot somebody and then the other would just snipe them and it was just like so fun for no reason.
You know, that game is fucking sick. I love watching the gifs of people like in jets doing like loop-de-loops,
yeah.
jumping out, killing the dude in the other jet, then landing in their jet and flying away. Like
Or you
that
like
shit's crazy.
toss
Like,
a C4
yeah.
in the sky and it blows up and it takes a helicopter
Mhm.
down.
You can do
But,
all
like,
this in Planetside.
At the same time,
Yeah, but it doesn't look as cool.
Yeah, it does, because there's like 1,000.
why the fuck
Anyway.
do games in a series continue to come out every single year in the age that we can put out massive DLC that increases the size of the game over the internet? You don't
Because
have to
DLC
pay
divides player base.
Yeah, and I
and
feel like-
also,
$60.
the new games have bigger peaks of revenue.
Yeah, like I'm like if I want to buy the newest Battlefield, I don't want to buy a DLC. That's for lames. I want to buy the new
The
Battlefield.
game
out
would
in
be
stores.
fucking
It could be the
better.
exact same
It would
thing.
Be better. It would be better.
You should
They
be
should
in charge of
fucking
all game
everything,
development.
dude. There would be no FIFA 19. Just a new game coming out called FIFA. That's it. And every 6
I
months, you get an update, and all the player stats are updated.
I don't think.
Fucking Christ, it's so easy to make the best soccer game.
See, I don't logic like purely.
No, yeah, it'd be less money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be less money because the whole thing with DLC, what ends up happening is that DLC just keeps the game at $60. Like occasionally, it'll dip a little bit up to like 80 or 100 with all
I can see what
DLC
you're
included.
saying.
But like with Destiny 2 right now, the base game and DLC keeps it at $60. Whereas like a new game can then come out at $60, release DLC, and now it's hitting that peak of 80. So I think it really just like if you looked at like a graph,
don't-
you would see that the revenue of a
I don't think that games are gonna be $60 for a lot longer. I think they're gonna
Really?
just become free. Honestly, after like seeing like the success of Fortnite, games are gonna start becoming free to play with. Some game like obviously companies will still fuck it up and make it pay to win, but I think like the free game with paid cosmetics is the way to go to make
Until
the most
they-
amount of money to get the biggest player base.
But I mean,
you
like
know?
that's been tried a million times. It succeeds a lot of the time, but not to the extent that like people
It
or
could-
like companies.
when has it failed?
Also, that
I'm not
all-
like I can't
I mean,
think
I'm not
of the
saying
time.
it's failed, but it's just like
that only works in multiplayer games.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
can't-
multiplayer
you
games.
can't- you
It'll
can't-
never happen for single player
You
story.
can't have God
driven
free to
games.
play God of War with cosmetics.
Yeah, that's not
no
gonna
one's
happen.
Going to
You
do
get
But I'm
a
talking
that.
about like these big ass fucking games like Fortnite. Like
Kratos is
the,
now blue.
I'm honestly wondering why Call of Duty isn't free. You know, like it should
or
be
$15 model,
yeah, or
like Counter Strike and
yeah.
Rainbow Six.
yeah, that's another good idea. Because like I don't think that this like fucking $60 per game shit is sustainable for much longer.
I have no idea. I don't know.
Only for big AAA single player games.
Yeah,
is that
single
true.
player story games will stay that way. But even at the same time, like I feel like indie devs are fucking killing AAA single player
I mean,
story
I
games.
hope
I mean,
what-
I know God of War just came out and was fucking amazing. I haven't played it yet, but
I really hope what you're saying is not true, but I could see a reality where that becomes true. Either
it's all
that
about the
or
money, and Fortnite's making more fucking money than
It's-
any other game.
It's either gonna be that or the $60 price tag instead of going down is gonna go up.
I don't think it'll go up. I don't think people will buy games the way that they do if they're more
If
than
it becomes like an
$60. If
industry
$80
standard.
becomes like the industry standard, people will not be buying games.
Yeah,
like that.
I agree with that. But speaking of Fortnite, they just fucking dumped
That's fucking ridiculous.
100 million
$100
into
million
tournaments
dollars.
for this year.
Of course they do.
Why?
But
Why wouldn't
they
they?
want to grow the esports scene, and I know what you're thinking, Stevens. Or no, Matt. Somebody. It's not competitive.
Yeah.
And I feel like it doesn't have to be.
It's competitive enough, you know, and there's enough stupid ass middle schoolers who are gonna like watch it, right? Because
I mean,
like
What's dumb about it for me is like as a viewer experience, it's just fucking garbage. Like that I watch PUBG tournaments.
it's
as
terrible
Well.
to watch.
Yeah, you can't watch 100 people.
But listen,
All over
what
time
you are
now.
overlooking right now is that I'm gonna go ahead and say like 70% of the player base of Fortnite is under the age of 18.
Yeah,
Yes.
but that's
Like,
that's the
that's
market
true.
that everybody wants.
So yeah, I know because these kids are fucking stupid and will
But that's not their
watch.
fault, though. It's
Yes,
like-
it's because they're kids. They will watch a fucking Fortnite stream.
So here's
They,
something that
like,
they could do, right? They could record the tournament, right? It's not going to be live.
and just cut it up.
And just not even necessarily cut it up, just like they go scrub through it. Oh, this looks really interesting. We're going to pan here, then whatever.
Yeah.
Like, so they could always get.
I mean, they could definitely do it if they
They could
develop
do that
some way.
real time
Yeah,
already.
be a real time, which just have multiple spectators, right?
or like a delay
And just
of
cut.
some sort.
Yeah, like a 30-second delay.
Yeah,
just
they
like
can
cut
already
around the
do
map,
that.
right? Like that's not
So
an
that
issue.
could make it more interesting.
But it's just like
It's still just.
I don't.
I
know.
mean,
don't know.
it's just like if it's like it's not like one tournament that's 100 million. It's just like
Over the
Matt-
year,
Yeah,
yeah.
Matt wants to host a tournament. Sirius, me, and Scotty are going to compete in it, and it's like we get fucking. I play in a $200 tournament. Like I don't
It's gonna get a lot of people coming in just for the money.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
almost I updated
entrance.
Fortnite
Yeah.
because I saw that it was fucking getting 100 million or whatever. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
And like to put it in perspective, last year of like League, Dota 2, CS:GO, there was probably a couple others. It was like 70.6 million or some shit that they all together put in.
Yeah.
And this is beating it in its like first year of being in quote unquote esport.
Yeah, but it's still just like it's artificial.
I think
you
it's
know?
risky as it's artificial.
That's the thing about like
But
comparing
I
it
mean,
to
they're making
like.
so much money and it's so big.
That's what I
But
thought
the
about
that's what I'm saying. The
Overwatch, too.
esports is artificial
Oh,
because like
yes.
if you compare it to like fighting games, like that shit is just like grassroots, really.
Yeah, fighting games is some poverty shit.
It's like poverty shit, right? You're only playing for like $2,000. I mean, only $2,000. If
Yeah,
anyone has
still,
$2,000, they just want to throw
Yeah,
my way.
Throw it
Feel
towards this
free.
podcast.
But you know, it's still like poverty shit. But yeah, I don't even know where the fuck I'm going with this shit. Like,
Dude, that's this whole podcast. We just
Yeah.
never know what we're doing.
well, I didn't.
That's what makes us special.
This is like a high fucking gravity beer, and I haven't eaten anything all
Oh,
day.
man.
like,
Seriously.
I'm fucked up right now.
It's
I'm
2
gonna have
in the
another one.
afternoon.
Actually, it's pretty fucking good. Do you want one?
Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Fuck
Oh,
it,
Jesus
man.
Christ. It's gonna make me an editing nightmare
Well,
later on, dude.
this is going off the rails currently.
I don't know.
I certainly don't give a shit about battle royale games. The only thing I wish is that they weren't the upcoming trend. I was really like holding out for maybe like a resurgence of arena shooters with like Quake Champions and games like that. But
I'll wait on that.
God damn. Alright. For the viewers out there, how you doing? Alright. I'm sorry, Matt. Continue.
I don't give a fuck.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll be weird. I
Why the fuck did you open that?
I wanted to see what would happen, dude.
Ugh!
shit.
It's like dripping off of your cabinet.
Damn. I don't know if I'm gonna cut this out, but for the viewers at home, our boy
Serious?
Sirius just dropped a beer
And then proceeded to open it.
Proceeded to open it.
I don't
It's
give a shit,
it's
dude.
sprayed comically. Like imagine an animation where something like they shake up a bottle and it sprays everywhere. That's what just happened.
I just didn't believe it would really happen like that. It was for science, really.
Oh
I think
shit.
myself as a scientist.
So something else I kind of want to talk about as Sirius is cleaning up. Matt, you've played Frostpunk.
Yeah,
I was interested in this game.
it's okay. I mean, I don't know. That's
you
about how I
recommend
feel
it?
about it.
Okay.
It's a colony sim. Basically, you're leading a colony in like a frozen world, and like the temperature plays a role in it. And that you have to build like heat sources. It's actually the term I like is it's a suffer sim.
Suffer sim.
Yeah,
So like,
even when
Darkest Dungeon.
even when like you think you're winning, there's something like waiting to fuck you that's just like 2 seconds away. And
Yeah, that is a thing that happens a lot.
yeah, and it's fun, but you never really reach like a sustainable point. I played like 2 games and lost both. The cool, I guess the like main feature of it is you have like a book of laws where you can like institute different laws for your colony. So one can be like, oh, so I'm gonna allow like child labor, or we're going to go into emergency work shifts, because the game's divided where you have work shifts and then free time.
Yeah.
And work shifts, things get done. Free time, no one's working. So if you don't have enough coal by the end of your work shift to power your generator overnight, people are going to start getting sick and dying.
Huh.
But you can institute laws that like help modify that. You can decide if your colony is going to use faith and
Where do you
spirituality.
make these colonies? In space?
No, it's in basically like this post-apocalyptic frozen world. Like the entire world is frozen over.
Like in Siberia.
Yeah, like Siberia. And you just like are building this colony in like this crater, and you manage it and you suffer. And
Are there like indigenous mutants that you can enslave?
Nope. You were
Jesus Christ.
I think.
It's not a real colony simulator if you don't have slavery.
I think you can enslave your own people.
As everybody can tell, Sirius is extremely right-leaning. Yeah.
I actually own slaves myself.
Georgia.
Not necessary. All right.
Anyway.
I think so. I never had it happen, but I think if you play long enough, like other colonies will spring up kind of around you, and then those colonies will attack you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a suffer sim.
It's like
it's
Spore.
a good suffer sim. No, it's nothing has ever been like Spore, and hopefully nothing will ever be like Spore again.
Spore was a decent game up until you had to like do a colony management thing.
The only good thing that came out of Spore is all the fucking penis monsters on YouTube. Like, that's the only funny shit.
Instead of Spore, you could just go play the black and white games, which are really good. Those are good, like, God sims, where you just, like, you are God in this world, and you can, like, manipulate. Black and white 1 and 2 are great, like, kind of early not suffer sims, but, like, God sims.
Hey, let's talk about something fun.
What?
Pokemon, dude.
Oh,
the
yeah.
most fun. The number one fun
Tell me
thing,
about it.
I
You're a
don't know.
resident Pokemon
25
expert.
years running, the greatest game ever made. Pokemon is coming back. Rumors say 2018, this year, Christmas time or holiday. So
Really?
don't mean to offend. Yeah, that's the rumors. They're on big time crunch, and also why some people think they are recycling. I don't know what the term is. Content. They're not like taking shit from an old game, like literally like the code.
Yeah.
But people are saying that it's going to be in Kanto. It's gonna have red and blue in it, Gary and Ash, if you're fucking retarded. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. I think there's gonna be like a Alolan forms, maybe. Some fucking losers were pissed off that they're like, yeah, they're just pandering to fucking Gen 1ers, which they kind of are a little bit, but I don't give a shit.
Jesus Christ. Sirius is so, like, all his statements are so fucking
Sometimes
charged.
it just sounds like another language. Like Gen 1, like when you guys are talking about League and now Pokemon, I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, I
When you
imagine
talk
I sound the
about
same way when I'm talking about like Planetside and Eevee.
Yeah, you sound like
So-
an alien when you're like, I enjoy Planetside
Yeah,
too.
so let me tell you.
That's an understandable sentence.
It's not
You
an
just said
understandable
Gen
sentence.
1ers in reference to Pokemon.
Generation 1, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Pikachu.
So
fucking
Pokemon-
Charizard.
So
Great,
Pokemon
cool.
comes out in generations, right? So
Yeah,
Gen
sure.
1 is the official 151 from
Okay.
Bulbasaur to Mew,
Yeah.
right? 151
So,
Pokemon.
like the purists.
Right, so there's a lot of retards out there
Jesus.
who
Come
only
on,
played
man.
those
What if-
Pokemon games. They only played those Pokemon games, right?
Yeah.
And
me.
then 20 years later, they want to put their opinion out into the world like it fucking matters. That they're like, Pokemon was shitty when I turned 14 and I stopped playing Pokemon. It's
Yeah,
like, yeah,
that's
I
about
bet
when
it
it turned
fucking
shitty.
did. Yeah, everyone fucking thinks that. Oh, well, this shit became bad when I became old enough to realize that it was actually shitty the whole time.
Yeah, I think there's no way you can look at like the first Pokemon and then this most recent one and be like, yeah, this one.
No, because like these are the kind of arguments that are like, oh, well, Pokemon are coming up with lame ideas because now there's literally a Pokemon that's a bag of trash, and it's like, what about the Pokemon Electrode, which is a fucking Pokeball?
Or like, I mean, almost any
What
of
about
them.
the-
Fucking
Or
Pikachu is a mouse, basically.
Grimer, which is just a pile of sludge,
Dude's a rat. Rattata.
like just a straight up rat. How about the Pokemon?
Digital monsters, Digimon.
Yeah, just play fucking
champions.
Digimon, dude. How about the Pokemon that is a seal, right? And its name is Seal.
That's incredible.
Okay, so just like anyway.
What's this new game gonna be about, Sirius?
What about
So
Wargarurumon? You can't pronounce
literally,
Who?
Wargarurumon?
it.
I don't even know what the
Is this
fuck you're
an-
talking
yeah.
about.
I'm
That's a
talking
Digimon.
about
All the
Digimon.
Digimon end in
Oh.
Mon.
Yeah, because it's smart.
And also whatever. Not gonna get into that.
Jesus.
So,
he had an opinion
listen.
about Digimon.
We don't know a
This guy
lot
has an opinion on
about
everything.
this shit. This is just the leaks,
Right.
the Pokemon shit. But there's lots of hints that this is what it's going to be. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee are going to be two versions where your starter is either Pikachu or Eevee.
Okay.
Based on Pokemon Yellow, So I assume you're probably going to get the other 3 traditional starters, Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle, or at least a choice of them.
Yeah.
In addition, which will be fucking sick, I'll get that Eevee version. Even though Pikachu is dope as hell,
Yeah.
and Alolan Raichu is dope as hell.
I gotta go for Pikachu.
Gotta get the
It's too
Eevee,
classy.
dude. I gotta get the Eevee.
I mean, Eevee's so cool because
Espeon, dude.
yeah, you can have so many different.
It's the best one.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I just owe it to Pikachu, you know?
Yeah. But so the only things that are coming out in the leaks are like Pokemon are gonna follow you, which is like a big thing in the Pokemon community. People are like hype about. Is that like when you walk around in the overworld, your Pokemon should follow you around?
Damn, it's crazy that we've been through so many iterations, and there's like basic things that are like, yeah, we're just not implementing.
Well, they put them in some games and not in others, right?
Oh, really?
Like Pikachu followed you in Pokemon Yellow.
Okay, yeah.
In the remakes of Heart Gold and Soul Silver, whatever your first Pokemon was would follow you around, right?
That just makes sense to me.
Yeah, like it's just like it makes the world feel more alive.
Yeah, and like you're more attached to your Pokemon.
Yeah. So that'll be sick. They confirmed that Red and Blue are going to be in the game, but they're probably going to be like gym leaders or members of the Elite Four. Red and Blue are... Red is the canon original character that you play as in the first 2 games, Red and Blue is your rival, Gary.
Mm-hmm.
But Gary and Ash are just the
It's
names
gonna
from
sound
the
hella
anime.
stupid, and it is, but like, so even if you got the blue version, you still played as Red?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because Red's the main character. I mean, you could name your character whatever you want. It's just like for the story, which really honestly doesn't fucking matter because it's Pokemon. The real thing is, are there going to be new Pokemon in this game? Because that has not been confirmed. It could be... Because there's over 600 Pokemon now.
So many.
Which is honestly, like, way too fucking many.
Like, at what point... I mean, I know they do, like, Mega Evolutions and then Alolan Forms, or whatever, but it's like... How... So you're a Pokemon designer, and you've made 600 fucking things. You're basically, at this point, like, looking at your sink being like, Faucetmon. Or just, like, I don't know. I mean, like, at what point do you... How would you go about getting over this?
Taking acid.
That's an easy question.
Copious amounts of acid. Is
What
the actual
they
answer
do...
to this.
What they do is they make a game... Like, Ruby and Sapphire were like this. They make a game with all new Pokemon, some old returning ones, but mostly, like, more than 80% of the Pokemon are new. And all of those old Pokemon that you love, you can't get them. So it forces you to, like, play in a game where it's only the new Pokemon. And then after you beat the Elite Four, sometimes they let you go back and now you can catch all the new Pokemon. So that's what I'm hoping. I highly doubt, because Nintendo never does anything that I want them to do, except make another Pokemon game. I really hope that they just, like, put this game out, and it's like the traditional fucking 8 gyms and the Elite Four thing. And then after that, there's just DLC where it's just like, go to a new area, here's all the fucking Pokemon, catch them all, beat all the gym leaders from every single previous game, and the Elite Four, and put back the Pokemon World Tournament, and have real fucking online capabilities. And the game will be perfect.
I would play Pokemon if it was an MMO.
No, Nintendo's gonna shit the bed on this one for sure.
Dude,
so.
Pokemon is an MMO. It's just
I know there's Pokemon Revolution, like Poke MMO, but I want like an actual
the
like,
real
Nintendo deal.
sanctioned. Yeah.
Because I mean, you played the.
It just seems like it lends it because it's an isometric game. It has like that many Pokemon to catch.
We don't know if this game's going to be isometric either. This game might be third person.
What if it's a first-person shooter and you shoot Pokeballs?
No. That's one of the leaks.
And like part of the fun, right? Like part of the cool thing about Pokemon is like showing off what you've got or whatever, which is like a perfect setting for like an MMO to show off like what you've trained. It just feels like it could be something, a fresh addition to the MMO genre that hasn't been done before, because there's no like catch monster MMOs really.
Do you guys think we'll ever see a resurgence of MMOs?
Yeah,
I dream about it nightly. So
I feel like we've missed that opportunity. Like
it just comes and goes in waves. I think once the generation of people who grew up with WoW as like the MMO gets to a certain age, and they're just like not playing games like that anymore because they're too old for it or whatever.
I feel like the next 2 or 3 years is going to be like really a deciding factor as to whether or not there is going to be a resurgence, because what's happening is we're going back to the old ways with games like Pantheon. Pantheon Rise of the Fallen is taking most of its inspiration from EverQuest. Then you have Chronicles of Illyria, which is supposed to be like full sandbox based. Like the whole thing that dictates the resurgence of MMOs is whether they can get sandbox and old school MMOs correct. Because
Yeah.
WoW basically stalled progress in the genre for 10 years, and now we're seeing people trying to innovate on old dead ideas that never saw themselves to full fruition because WoW like replaced all those things.
Yeah.
So the next 2 or 3 years are really going to decide whether or not MMOs are going to be sustainable long term as we know them, or if the games as a service Destiny division model is going to be what takes priority moving forward.
I think it's
Yeah.
got to be games as a service.
I think games as a service will take over, but
I think that's a
mean,
more logical thing, but I don't want that to
You know
happen.
what we need? A resurgence in CRPGs. I know we got Divinity.
It's already happening.
No, we need more. I
It
want
is
We are
CRPGs
getting more.
all the time.
We are getting more. I just read an article that they were making a CRPG based on Pathfinder.
I'm really interested now.
Yeah, there's that. There's going to be more Divinity, more Pillars of Eternity. I feel like it's
it's in a good spot.
yeah, it's healthy. It's healthy.
It's healthy, but I'm talking. I want like too much.
I don't
'Cause
want too much.
I
don't want anything to be
fucking
oversaturated.
Fortnite of CRPGs is what I want.
$10 million
Yeah.
pot bonus.
No, I want 100 million.
Not yeah.
It'll never
I'm thinking
happen.
too small.
Yeah, you think it's too small, dude. Come on,
That-
CRPGs very competitive.
That would require CRPGs to like follow games as a service model, which would just be fucking insane.
I just
and
think-
I don't know how that would ever work.
I don't know. That's like a fucking and RTSs. Do you think RTSs will ever fucking make a comeback?
No.
There's like no way. It's too
No.
hard.
Yeah.
They're too hard.
I think it could. I mean, it's just like waiting in the wings, right? Like it's still like Korea's
What do
like
you
national
mean?
sport. It's still just like
Korea's
I think
now league.
fighting games will come before
God,
RTS.
I fucking hope so.
I think RTSs will see them like come back in a big way in like 5 to 10 years. After everyone's taken a break from them, we'll go back to the chess like
RTS
200 APM madness of StarCraft.
way too fucking hard. Like if RTS makes like a big comeback, it'll have to be in like a dumbed down, streamlined version.
Yeah, and
That's
you
not,
could
not that the
work-
game will be bad,
you could
but it
work
just
your
has
way
to
up.
be.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Accessible.
Maybe we need to start from the ground floor
Even
again,
though
but I don't think
StarCraft-
RTSs are done.
StarCraft 2 was like a dumbed down version of Brutal.
Any of you guys seen this
Sorta.
game called?
Not,
Streamlined,
not much,
really.
not much more dumbed down.
Have you guys seen this game called Tooth and Tail?
Yeah.
That's supposed to be like a dumbed down. Same as We Are Billions. I think it's supposed to be a little easier. I mean, like
but
if you're
sorta.
comparing
It's
it
like a management
compared to
sim, right?
StarCraft.
Yeah, We Are Billions is more like another suffer sim type
Uh-huh.
deal. It has RTS elements, but it's primarily a suffer sim.
Yeah.
Tooth and Tail.
I like
looked
that.
more
Tooth and
like-
Tail is a
Suffer
streamlined
Sim together.
RTS. Yeah.
I think Tooth and Tail was more like traditional RTS.
But I know that Tooth and
but it's
Tail
still not,
is-
that's not aiming to like innovate or like.
It's not aiming to innovate, but it is aiming to introduce people to the RTS genre and to not overwhelm them with
Yeah.
like, okay, well, if you're not doing like this many racks at 3 minutes, then you're fucking trash and don't bother
Bro,
playing.
I'm sure I told you guys, but when I played StarCraft 2 and I was like new, I would just 6 racks rush every fucking game, which is like a
Yeah.
cheesy strategy.
That's
And
what
it
you
would
can
carry
do at the
you.
low ranks, yeah.
Yeah.
What it was, we all played, and it was with our friend Alberto,
Alberto,
who's
yeah.
been on the podcast before.
Yeah.
And I fucking second game, and I like 6 pull over some shit. It's just like, yeah, this is a good game, dude.
I mean, I think if a game has peaked again, peaked once, it can peak again. And StarCraft 2's peak was fucking insane. I mean, it happened with
But
Counter
it was
Strike.
really just in Korea though. Like it was big-ish North America, but it wasn't.
Yeah, sure, but like North America isn't necessarily the deciding factor as to whether or not like a game is peaking
So
or
this
not.
sounds. Tell me if I'm fucking retarded, but it's like it's weird
Yes, you're
to me.
retarded. It has nothing to do with what you're gonna say.
All right, it's weird to me that it's like I'll look at a game and it'll be like there's a billion people playing this one, but it's predominantly like Chinese, Korean people playing it, and then it's like okay, well it's not like my game that I play. So it's weird to me that I like look at that and I go, huh? It's not like super big here, so it doesn't like affect me, even though it's still extremely big. It's just like because I'm like not over there. You know?
Sure, that's
Yeah.
basically America's perspective towards everything in
Yeah,
the world.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, really self-centered view.
Yeah.
This is kind of we're just off the rails at this point. Fuck it. MSI had like broke viewership numbers or whatever.
Yeah.
With like a
no NA viewers.
with like a fucking hundred some odd million, and if you removed all the Chinese or whatever, it was like 900,000 were like not.
So what though? That's-
But I think that's
Finna
what I mean.
take
It's just
over.
crazy. Like it's just like It's these fucking places are so huge.
That's because half of the world's population is in 2 countries, China and India.
Yeah, no, it's just great.
And it's just like the way that the
So-
world is going.
After like going to China, like made me realize like coming back to the U.S. was so fucking weird, and that like, man, it's fucking. We're like in an exclusive club here, right? Like
We're-
we
What
have
do you mean?
we have 300 million people in the U.S. Something like, I think that's the correct number.
Yeah, around
and China is 1.2 billion. So I went from like these crowded fucking streets, like just elbow to elbow, and then I come here and I'm just like, there's a lot of just empty space
I
here.
thought about that last night. I was driving home from work, and it was like 11 o'clock on a Saturday, driving through downtown Atlanta, and there's just nobody
Yeah.
on the streets.
But,
And I
like-
just thought, like, even in like New York, right? Like, you can't fucking like go through a crosswalk without waiting for
Yeah.
people to walk by. But I just look around. There's like a couple people here, a couple people there.
Yeah,
You know?
but just like
Just
blowing
like-
up a larger scale, like U.S. population of the world, so few people live here.
Yeah.
But we're so like important. It's just like really weird, like being in the U.S. Like I don't want to be
declining
like you're
empire.
lucky to be in the U.S., but damn, you're part of a
I think
minority.
You
lucky
are
to be
lucky
in
to live in the
I mean,
US.
there's
We're
a lot of
all
shitty things, but
incredibly
there's a
lucky
lot
to
of
live
shitty
in the
things
US.
everywhere.
Let me
I
tell
mean,
you
whatever.
about how shitty it is.
I'm
to
not
live in
trying to
third
get into
world
politics
countries.
of it. I'm just saying, like population-wise, like statistically speaking, you are not likely to live in the U.S. Like
Yeah,
it's
I know.
it's fucking it's just weird. We are a dot in
So
the world population.
before we get off on a political rampage, does anybody have anything else?
I'm not getting on political
to
rampage.
talk
I'm just
about-
pointing out that there's not a lot of people here.
Gaming related things. Did we get everything done? We talked about everything we
I
wanted to talk
failed
about.
my promos into gold.
Okay. Before.
Okay.
All right. I think that's it.
And I'm
I think
mad
that's.
about
I
it.
think that's the ending.
I haven't been playing a lot of Rocket League. Planetside 2
Still
is
mad.
pretty dope.
This podcast is gonna be a nightmare for me to edit. I'm
This
literally
is
gonna.
the uneditable podcast.
Oh Jesus! All right.
Just let
Um,
it be raw.
Scotty, get ready on that stop button. This is the end of the Casually Talks the podcast. Scotty, what's that email that we can have people email us questions?
Casually toxic questions
At
at
Gmail.
Okay, so we're gonna make it. We haven't made it, but we're going to make it. Casually Toxic Questions
At
gmail.com. Email us a question,
Anything.
and we'll
Like,
read it here on the podcast.
You
Literally
can-
anything.
you can
Any
ask
question.
me like what shape my toes are if
yeah,
you want.
and
Or-
we'll
How
probably
would you
answer.
classify that? Like,
I, see,
Oblong?
that's a discussion right
let's
there.
not
Alright.
get into
We're
it.
We
open-
got
we're
it. We
open
got
to
somebody
that
has got to
discussion.
ask. All right. Other than that, if you like this shit, please tell your friends about it.
Please don't make us send ourselves.
Please critique-
Because now I'm thinking about that because I really want to have the toe discussion.
So we don't sell any merch.
Yeah.
But you can go to like a custom auto shop and get one of those fucking stickers that goes all over the whole of your back windshield and just says like casually toxic on it.
There it
We
is.
don't have like an official font
But
or
you should do
anything.
it.
So we
It's
won't sue you.
Comic Sans.
If you do
Yeah, Comic
that,
Sans.
if you do that, and we start generating revenue in 10 years, we will give you 0.03%
That's
of our
still a lot.
revenue.
Matt will give you 0.03%
Yeah,
of
Of
his
my own
share.
revenue.
Of
That's
his
fine.
share.
Yeah, I'll
Alright.
give you
Yeah.
0.03% of
But
my
yeah,
revenue
mine.
in a
If
decade.
you like the podcast, go ahead and share it with your friends. All right. This has been episode 17.
Sure.
Bye bye.
Adios.